And with both sides claiming victory with the interim nuclear deal with Iran, critics in Congress are threatening to ratchet up the sanctions pressure. Joining me now is Congressman Adam Schiff of California, a senior member of the House Intelligence Committee, and just back in town from having traveled with the president over the last 2 days. So we heard him on that trip defending the deal and basically saying it's easy to bluster, he used that word, and play politics, but it's harder to do real diplomacy.
Well, and he's absolutely right, and it doesn't get more difficult than negotiating with the Iranians. But I think this is a positive step forward, and I hope that the Congress will work with the president. We're going to be in a much better position if we are united with the executive and not at odds as we go into this 6-month period. It's going to be very difficult to get to a final deal. This gives us the possibility of doing that, but there are tremendous obstacles in the way, and I don't underestimate the task ahead.
President Rouhani is already saying we're open for business, and we see in the Financial Times today, I was talking to Undersecretary of Treasury Cohen, they're already talking to the oil companies about what could happen 6 months from now, as early as 6 months from now, and redoing deals, even though those sanctions are still in place.
Well, you know, they're obviously putting their best spin on this, but I think the administration is right to be reinforcing with our allies. There's going to be no let-up in the sanctions. There is this partial lifting of a freeze on Iranian assets. But unless we get to a final deal, not only will the freeze go away, but we're going to be implementing new sanctions. So it's very important that the business community understand this is not carte. And I think they get that. I can't imagine major companies are going to want to sink a lot of resources into something that may completely evaporate in a few months. But we have an opportunity here, and there aren't that many, to avoid another military conflict, to bring a halt to Iran's program. It may happen, it may not, but I think it would have been irresponsible not to test whether we can get to an agreement.
Do you have any concerns that the deal does not involve the missile technology? And one could ask, you know, why do they need long-range missiles? Why are they even developing them if they don't have a weapons program?
Well, why do they need nuclear energy, for that matter? Right. You know, a nation that awash in petroleum resources. Certainly. I mean, and I would love the agreement to have gone even further. But the agreement did achieve some very significant objectives. It rolls back all their 20% enriched uranium. It puts a freeze on the Iraq heavy water reactor. These are things that would have not happened over the next 6 months. If we didn't have this interim deal, we'd still be trying to see if we could get to a final deal in 6 months. The difference is all this would be going ahead apace. So, look, I think it's positive. The most difficult challenge, I think, at the end of the day, to getting to a final deal is Iran will have to come clean on its weapons work. And that, of course, will run contrary to its entire story, its entire narrative, and whether they will be willing to do that, it's going to be tough.
Do you see any sign that this could be transformative in other areas, Syria, for instance?
You know, it has that potential. Obviously, we've had a poisonous relationship with Iran for decades now. There are very real internal limits on what Rouhani could do, even if he wanted to do it. But there is the potential of putting the U.S.-Iranian relationship on a different footing. You know, we're certainly still going to have major differences with Iran on a whole host of issues, just as we do with Russia. But as we saw with Russia and the weapons in Syria, there are areas of overlapping interest. And indeed, you know, we had that opportunity in confronting the Taliban with Iran, but that did not materialize. But there is a potential here for a different kind of a relationship.
Congressman Adam Schiff, thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to you. Great to see you here.